Welcome, everyone, to the Ascending Community of Light. I am Cynthia.
And I'm Rena. Hello.
Hello, welcome back. We are about building a community where you feel empowered to be your most divine self and consciously awakening to all the potential that you are. And Rena and I have been friends for a long time, and we thought it'd be great to share with you some of the pearls of wisdom that we've gained along the way. So today we're going to be talking about the power of meditation. So, and I think Rena is just by far the best one at it, but I'm learning.
Well, we all have to do it, don't we? Because it's something where there's so much out in this world that we get too distracted, and we really do have all of the answers inside of us. And our connection to our spirit is the most important work we can do. So I thought it would be good for us just to do a little bit of history or talk a little bit about what meditation is and where it comes from.
Sure. And that's such a fun topic to talk about. Well, meditation, the word actually goes back to the 1100s, the 1000s. People began using the word meditate, and it stems from the old Latin to think over, to contemplate, to go inward. And the French is better said by Rena, meditation. Did I say that right? My French is about as good as my Russian, which is almost non-existent at this point. But meditation, it goes way back, and every culture has a way of describing meditation. Some people call it the silence of God, the neutral zone,
the sweet small voice within. I've heard people call it that.
That's a great way to say the quiet reflection time.
Yeah.
No matter which culture we're talking about, whether you're sitting down or standing up or walking through the woods even, and there's so many ways to meditate, aren't there, Rena? You can meditate in so many ways. I think for me, I think about the Buddhist monks and, the traditional, sitting quietly in their monasteries and things, and just, in that silence, and how they do it for hours and hours and hours on end without even getting up or eating or drinking or anything. So we all have different images that come to mind when we think about meditation.
Yeah. And, I think one thing that I love that you just said, that you can do it anywhere, because I think when people talk about meditation, if they don't know about it, they imagine somebody doing this, kind of sitting there. And honestly, I have never meditated like that. And I meditate a lot, but I do it exactly what they say not to. My back is not straight. I'm usually in a very comfortable chair. I usually have my feet up, not on the ground. And I've gone to really great places in my meditation, so nobody can tell me that it doesn't work. And I think when we put rules on things, then it makes there's a barrier there, so that people who are maybe not comfortable or familiar, then they might not want to even try.
I think that's a really good point.
Just do it.
Just do it. It doesn't matter how you start or where you sit, or if you're upside down or sitting up, or, some people say, oh, you have to be in this position or that. But like Rena just said, it doesn't matter. The idea is to do it. Even if you can do it 3 minutes a day, then you can build to 4 minutes a day and 5 minutes and 10. And some people can meditate for hours. Most people like us don't have the luxury of maybe meditating for hours, but we do try to get it in. And to develop it as a daily practice is the key.
Exactly.
And it's that daily commitment. And we want to really encourage everybody to take that time for yourself, even if it's 5 minutes. If you've got a busy household, just go into the bathroom, close the door, and just
I used to do that with the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got young children around, it's okay. Mommy's in the bathroom. It's quiet time or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the breathing is the big part, because that connects you to your body, and the breath connects you to your body and allows the body to calm down enough to actually start to open up. But Yeah, we can get into some of that stuff later, but
Yeah.
yeah, just that few minutes, it's so vitally important.
It's so important. And all the spiritual teachers and gurus and ascended masters and everyone says the same thing, that to learn to meditate is the key, because it's there that we find that inner peace with source, with God, with spirit, whatever you want to call this greater force that rules the universe. So it is really important. Today, we wanted to talk a little bit for a few minutes about prayer versus meditation, because I think people get that confused sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are different kinds of meditation too, aren't there? I mean, as far as academically speaking, um,
Mhm.
I never, like, I'm not real academic about it. I just do it. So, what do you know about any of that? Do you know different kinds of meditations, what they're called, or?
Well, there's so many different traditions of meditations. It's hard to put my finger on one or two, but there's transcendental meditation, and I practiced that back in the 80s, I think. And the idea that you will transcend this three-dimensional world and move into higher realms of consciousness. And of course, that is the idea as well in meditation. Um, Transcendental meditation, where you merge into a oneness, a one consciousness. And I think that we are moving all in that direction anyway, right?
Mhm.
So prayer, when we think about prayer, most people would agree that when you pray, you probably hold your hands together and we are requesting something. We're praying to God, to the universe. We're praying to Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or an ascended master, Saint Germain, whoever it is, that we're asking for something. It could be asking for an answer to a problem, some kind of solution, or asking for help, or praying for healing for another person. I think that's really powerful as well. So
Mhm.
we're asking for a request,
It's a request, right?
a request. And the idea for meditation then is just the opposite. Instead of asking, the most important thing, I think, is to ask. We have the prayer where we ask, but in meditation, we are open to receiving. We're creating a place to receive the answer to the prayer. Does that make
Exactly.
sense, Rena?
Exactly. And I think the other piece to meditation I was going to say is I think people have been taught that they need to clear their mind of all thought. And
Mhm.
in my practices, that isn't what I need to do. For me, when I have thoughts that come up, I can just move them gently aside, but I don't feel like I need to be in this space of super quiet. um, it's interesting because you start judging yourself that you're not doing it right. So yeah, this is, you want to open yourself to answers. So you do want to quiet your mind, but you need to just kind of be gentle about it and just go, oh yeah, that's not what I'm focusing on. But have some intent. But you're right, it is about receiving the answers, being open to receiving them visually or auditorily or even just kinesthetically, like you just have a feeling, because some people aren't visual, they don't see things, and some people don't hear things, but they might feel a different way. So being in
Mhm.
tune with your body, but it is that receivership. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
And I think it's important for meditation. The single most important thing for me, besides listening to the answers I've asked for, is to just quiet the mind into a calm space. And I think that's really hard in our culture, in American culture anyway, to let go of the images of today, let go of the worries, the bills that need to be paid, the children that have to be fed in an hour. Just
Mhm.
let it all go. And one of my meditation teachers taught us to look at a blank blackboard. So back in the day when there was slate blackboards and white chalk, um, he said to look at a blackboard and just see that the slate is blank. And that was a nice image for me being a school teacher, because it helped me I could go there right away. Oh, I can
Yeah.
see the blackboard. And just create, there's nothing on the blackboard. Nobody's written on it. It's completely blank. So whatever image can work for you to create that space, perhaps you're out in nature and you see the bark of a tree and you just feel it's a blank slate. Maybe it's the stars at night. It could be anything that creates a space that's safe and quiet, and there's nothing on it yet. Don't you think that's really hard to do, Rena?
Yeah, it's important to do, and it can be hard. I was smiling because I was remembering giving birth,
Oh
actually.
boy.
And in the you get into this meditative state, and they were talking, remember, they were talking about finding a focal point. So you can just focus on the focal point and do your breathing. And so that reminded me when you were talking about that, of focusing on a plant. And I was like, yeah, it really does help, because it allows you to let everything else fall away. And you're just focusing on that one thing. You're focusing on your breathing. You're getting in tune with your body. And you're just letting that come then.
Right. And I used to take a pencil, and you can just take a pencil too and just focus on the point of the pencil, or even the handle or whatever. But when your mind starts to wandering down and you see it's a big pen and you think about the company or whatever, you just have to focus on one thing. And to quiet the mind, it's taken years and years and years to be able to do that. But that's just me.
And that's if your eyes are open. Like I never do, when I meditate, I never do it with my eyes open.
Oh, you have your eyes
closed, if I'm
yeah.
walking or not, I always close my eyes, which, half the time I fall into a sleep. But I just close my eyes. And what I do is I start calming my body down, because I know that it's my body, that's the connection that I need to have. And when I get into a calm state with my body, then my mind will start to calm itself down as well. So to focus my mind, we're talking about focusing, with eyes closed, I imagine my body getting more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable. I often will imagine light coming through, and then noticing how my body changes. And that is my focal point. And I do it all with my eyes shut.
Right. And when I did mention the focal point, I did mean with your eyes closed. I didn't say that, but I did mean that I'm looking at this in my inner eye.
Oh, okay.
So I'm seeing this point of a pencil in my inner eye, and I'm just focusing on that.
Interesting. So, okay, so there's lots of different ways to do it.
Lots of ways. Any way you can calm your mind, for sure. And when we do meditation, like Rena said, focusing on the breath is probably the most important thing. And that's a great way to get into your breathing and get into your body and your whole experience of yourself as an entity. So you are a living, breathing, beautiful, divine soul. And when we focus on our breath in the in and the out, and just focus on that, that can really quiet the mind better than anything else, I think. So,
because it's important to realize, what's the purpose of this? The purpose is to be able to connect to our own higher divine wisdom, our higher selves, if you want to call it that, moving into what people would call God or source. And all of that intelligent, loving wisdom is available to every single one of us. We don't have to go through intermediaries to get to God. It's all within us, and opening that channel and making that channel so it's clear and easy is really our work. That is the most important work that we have. Yeah.
Really it is. And I'm reading a book right now, and this master is talking about, really, that's the most important thing. One of his students said, so what's the most important thing we can do in our world to reach God or connect with God? And he said, meditation, meditation, meditation. So that is really, really the key, to get in touch and find that inner peace, because that really is where we're going to find it.
Yeah, because we have to look at something that you and I have talked about in some of our other videos, is really this world that we're living in is so much illusion. It's illusionary, and everything is energy. And there are things that we can't control, and all this stuff that's going on in our world, in our families, in our work, and the to-do list, like you were saying before, about what our mind has to take care of. And getting back to balance, getting back to go, you know what, we are more than what is happening in this third dimensional world. We are spiritual beings having this human experience. But while we're having our human experience, it's so easy to have those veils where we forget and we don't see that we are more spiritual than we are third dimensional
Mhm.
having this experience. And so when we
Absolutely.
meditate, that just gives us those few moments to reach back into that and go, oh yeah, that's who I am.
That's who I really am. I'm not just
Right.
a teacher, as I would say, or I'm not just a plumber or a gardener or a mother or an accountant. I'm so much more than that.
Yes,
And it's in those quiet moments where we, like Rena said, we can get in touch with who we really are and forget
that's the
about all the
beauty of it.
outer.
Hmm.
Forget about your house, if it's small or big, or whether it's cluttered or not, or whether you have one car or six cars, or whether there's money in the bank account or not. It doesn't matter. You are a spiritual being. And so meditation, we found, is just the best way to get back in touch with ourselves. So it's a lifelong process learning meditation.
Hmm.
And just like anything, the more you do it, the more skilled you become at it. So give yourself time and be
And
good
I
to
would
yourself.
say, sorry to interrupt, but I would say that the more you do it, the more you trust. And here's another piece that I found. I would often get answers, what I considered answers, but I'm like, what's that? What does that mean? And I can't really trust that. What if that's wrong? And so I had, then I would start questioning everything. It took me a long time to get to the point where I really do trust the answers that I get. And I've let go that if it doesn't work out the way my mind thinks it should work out, based on what I thought I heard or saw or whatever it was, then I let go of that and don't put that as a negative mark on the list. That I continuously build this faith and this trust in my own inner wisdom. And when you do that enough, you get to the point where it doesn't matter what anyone else says, because your heart, your mind, your gut, your inner self is all guiding you. And there's perfect divine order in that guidance. And it doesn't matter what anyone else says or does. It doesn't.
That is really the key. That is absolutely the key, to learn that trust. So there is no wrong way to do it. It's just a matter of exploration, self-exploration, and find what
Mm-hmm.
works for you. But there's some things to keep in mind when you're beginning your meditation practice.
Mm-hmm.
Rena, why don't you tell us about some of those, and I'll pitch in also.
Sure. Yeah. Like, I think the most important thing is that we do create an intention for the practice. Sometimes I find myself that I don't, but I get better results when I do. I create an intention. And if you state the intention clearly in your own mind or even out loud, then like the you're directing, because we're such great creators, that we are kind of
Yeah.
directing our creation into something that we want an answer about, and we want a connection about, or we want clarity around. And so then we're able to um, more easily go, oh, that's what that means. So if you ask, what they say, ask and you shall receive. If we forget to ask, then we just get whatever. But if we ask and we create this intention, then we know that what answers that come are answers that need to be there for us. And
Yes,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was just going to say, as a part of that, I'm getting a little bit of a download here, that take everything in small chunks, perhaps. So as you're meditating, maybe not start with the big question, like,
Yeah,
what is my entire life's purpose?
yeah,
That's a big
exactly.
one. That's a big one for one meditation, or who is God, or something like that. So that we start with a small question, like Rena said, set your intention for something. The problem at work is this. what is my best solution tomorrow
Mhm.
morning? Or at the meeting tomorrow, what can I say? Something small, so that you start building that confidence and trust, like Rena said, that you're really on the right path. So I think to do it in smaller chunks may be advisable. Don't you think, Rena?
Absolutely. And also set the intention that you're always protected, and only information that is for your highest and best and the highest and best of all concerned, that are of the highest frequency and love frequency, comes to you. Because I think that's another fear people have. They start opening themselves up, and
Yeah.
then they're like, well, was that a good guy talking, or the good angel or the bad angel, right? And so I think that's important too. So just put yourself in a bubble of white light, or set the intention that only love frequency and the highest and best for everyone concerned comes to me. And then you can relax and then trust what you do get. So those two intentions, the intention of being protected, and the intention of whatever it is that you're going to ask for. But absolutely, the small pieces, and is, especially if you're starting out, start off small. Yeah, great,
Yeah.
great input.
Yeah. And I like the idea of, putting yourself in, a bubble of white light. I think that's important to do during meditation. I think it's important to do before you go to sleep at night. Really throughout the day, anytime you think of protection, to work for that highest and best always, and from the highest places, and the realms of light, and the realms of love.
Mhm.
And as long as we stay in our heart and in love, we can't really go wrong with that.
Mhm.
Another thing that Rena and I have done is to take a journal, or take a notepad or something. And as you're meditating, after the meditation, you can write down some ideas that came to you, much like journaling any other time. Or some people
Mhm.
have a dream journal, and you can have a meditation journal as well. And that can be
Mhm.
really helpful.
Or even just your phone and record it if you have
Oh, that's
a
the modern
recording
way.
device.
Yeah.
It's the modern way.
Yeah, take your phone and do it that way, in the super high, ultra high tech. So, and then physical adjustments to the body, paying attention to what the body may be doing or not doing, and sitting with that and being okay with that. Um, you may feel uncomfortable, and just sort of taking notice of that. What is your body trying to tell you, and how can you, um, work with it within that energy?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that, when you have your space, if you keep your space nice and quiet and calm, then you can get into that a really, really deep space. And when you do go deep, then there are physical changes that your body has. So I don't know about you, Cynthia, but I know that when I start taking a deep breath and relaxing, then I sink deeper in the chair. I can feel my, muscles and all that start to relax.
Yeah,
And when I
yeah.
go deeper and deeper, I have actually had times where I've been so deep that there's been a buzzing in my ear, in
Mm.
my head, like this super loud buzzing. I've had my third eye like burst open with these
That's
colorful
great.
geometric designs that were just, they
Yeah.
just like kept coming at me. And I was like, what the heck? But, sometimes I could feel tingling in my body. I could feel my molecules moving around. Like sometimes I feel super heavy. Other times I felt like I was lifting
Really
off of the bed
light.
almost,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have all of these physical changes that can happen inside of your body when you're adjusting your frequency and when you're tuning in to that greater source. And so it's nothing to be scared of. It's just something I relish it. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
This is cool. I had a friend tell me that she was in meditation recently. In fact, she was in her car, and she was sitting, um, idling away some time in the car, and she felt all of her cells come alive, and she could see her cells moving around in her meditation, and she could see her cells going about their busy way on the highway of her, you know, blood system or nervous system. It was really, really interesting, really cool. So that's kind of a neat thing. So all these things can happen.
Mhm.
So in closing, we just want to encourage you to meditate every day. A little bit at a time is great. Longer is wonderful too. And as you get better, you'll want to do it more and more. Now I just kind of yearn to do it.
Yeah.
I crave, 5 more minutes. Oh, I can do that. I can meditate during that time and connect inwardly to source. So, and Rena has made a beautiful meditation available, and that's separate from our YouTube today. But Rena, tell us about your meditation that you just put up.
Okay. But before I do, I just want to say that reminded me a great time. It's good to take time during the day, but for sure, before you go to sleep and as you're waking up, because you're already in those theta waves. And so that's a really great time to practice some meditation before you go to sleep. And then as you're waking up and allowing yourself to wake up slowly, if you can, instead of the buzzer. But then if you can do it during the day too, because that's when we really need it, when all the stimulus is going on and we really need to take that calm breath. And so what Cynthia and I had this great idea that you might need some guidance. And what better way to help you than to create a guided meditation. So that's what we did. We created a guided meditation, and it's a meditation into the crystal earth. So in that meditation, we're going deep, and then we're connecting to the womb of the Earth Mother and finding our inner guidance through that. And so it's a very beautiful, lovely meditation, and that's a separate video. So check out our video library and find that meditation into the crystal earth.
Ooh, so exciting. I love to go talk to Mother Earth and talk to the crystals and get information. And it's really, really exciting. So please do check that out. And thank you for joining us today, and have a blessed, calm day, and happy meditating.
Happy meditating.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.